Hello and welcome back to another episode of Absolute BSS, the casual-petitive look at Bandai Namco's Battle Spirits Saga card game. As always, it's your boys, Cam and Eric, the Absolute BSS boys, bringing you another spicy episode with all the hits. Eric, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Hello everybody. I got a haircut.
Nice.
So
you look nice.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because there's a green screen kind of covering up my hair, but
Sure.
I got it a lot shorter, which is really nice. So
Yeah,
gonna be nice for the warmer weather.
we love that.
Yeah, been doing good though.
Angel is out of town working once again. So it's just the two of us. Little Cam and Eric mess around here. But we've got a lot of fun, exciting stuff to talk about. We cast the Battle Spirits Tensei community Discord server Battle of the Best Volume 2 last weekend.
Wow, that name was like one of those like new animes. Like
Yeah, it sounded like one of the new X rares.
my sister got lost in the dungeon. Also, we're twins.
Yeah. Two.
Two. If you loved the first one.
But yeah, so we're gonna recap that event, talk about some of these high performing decks, and then we're gonna look at the Sydney Grand Tour top 4 deck lists and kind of break those down. Spoiler alert, pretty diverse top 4.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'm excited to talk about that.
Pretty solid top 16, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First though, I just kind of want to catch up with Eric. What have you been up to lately, my guy?
I've been doing a lot of stuff, like just around, like I've been going to lots of concerts and stuff like that, which has
been out and
fun.
about.
Yeah, I feel like I'm busy like every night.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun, but also a little exhausting.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I had a day to do nothing, and I decided to go get a haircut because I can't just do nothing apparently. But. Yeah. I also, so today actually continuing the trend of doing things, a friend of mine is getting into the Star Wars Unlimited TCG.
That's super exciting.
I don't know that he's like a super huge gamer, but so this might be like one of his, I don't really know his background. I'll have to ask him about it, but this might be like one of his first like TCGs that he gets into. So
that's very cool.
We're going to meet up later at the board game cafe, and I'm going to teach him how to play. So.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear how that goes. I'm really pumped on that.
Yeah. Which of the two starter decks in that is stronger? I've heard Vader's pretty good.
Probably Vader.
Okay. I'll probably give him Vader so he has more fun.
Yeah. That's the thing. It is just super fun, man. Like some of the exclusives in that starter deck too are like just really cool. You feel really good throwing those down. The villainy cards I think are some of my favorites, which isn't normally the case when I play Star Wars IP stuff. I'm always like a Rebel Alliance guy all the way.
Yeah.
So,
well,
it
should be fun. Game. What about you? What have you been up to?
Man, I'm currently still waiting on potentially a new job. It's all very exciting, but it's all still very up in the air. I want to talk about more of that, but I can't. It's just been a really ongoing process. So I'm struggling a little bit with that. It's like it's something very, very exciting to me. And so waiting is kind of difficult. So in the meantime, I've just been rotting my brain and numbing it away with single player video games on PlayStation 5. I'm currently rotating Persona Strikers, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Dragon's Dogma 2. Which are all fantastic action RPGs. And I never really liked ARPGs until like I played Final Fantasy 16 because I just love JRPGs and Final Fantasy. And that was just such a departure. And obviously I played a Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is, the same battle system as Rebirth. But like it's finally clicking for me and I'm just having a really good time playing those games. Dragon's Dogma specifically, it's like playing Elden Ring again. Like there's just so much to explore and it's just so fun and the world is beautiful. And this game actually has like a dedicated plot that they give to you instead of like just dripping little lore bits through item descriptions. So it's really good. I cannot recommend it enough.
You know what's funny about that game is I just found out about it recently, because I guess a bunch of people, as people are on the internet, are upset about whatever with it.
Yeah,
And it was funny because I watched a video that was like, why Dragon's Dogma 2 is problematic for the gaming industry or something. And then
it's not.
my interpretation leaving that video was like, man, that game looks kind of cool. I might buy it.
Yeah. So that's my thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I've never played Dragon's Dogma. I thought this was just like another kind of like Baldur's Gate 3 kind of thing, which isn't. Baldur's Gate 3 is not for me personally. I need a little bit more hands-on action. I struggled with World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 for the same thing, right? It's like
Yeah.
kind of action RPG, but not. I'd rather it be one or the other. All that to say, Dragon's Dogma 2 is not on my radar. And then I see like all these the character generation, right? And everyone's like making like Bryan Cranston and Tobey Maguire, and I'm like, wow, that's a really in-depth character customization. And then the game comes out, and I'm just seeing all these clips about like the world is constantly living. You can like watch big monsters fight each other. You can get involved. It's like D&D in the sense that you can approach literally the entire game however you want, and it'll play out differently for players. But there's still a linear story, and it's just really, really good. But then I heard the controversy of like, well, it's Capcom and there's microtransactions, but literally you don't need them. They're just boosts, and it's something Capcom has always done. So it's just a lot of like AI bots on Twitter posting like headlines like Dragon's Dogma's 2 is ruining gaming and players are upset. And I was like, the people who are upset about it haven't played it or haven't looked into it at all. I understand that there were some PC performance issues, but I'm playing on console, bitch, and it's awesome.
My thing about microtransactions is like, love them or hate them. I think it's just where we are in the world right now.
They're inevitable.
It's just part of gaming now, and it does suck because I remember back in the day you'd buy a game and then that was it.
Yeah.
But also, if you flip it around, it's kind of cool that we live in an era when you buy a game and like maybe that's not it. Like maybe you get expansion content, maybe you get new stuff for this game that you love. But
it all depends on how each company handles it, right? And Pokemon, for instance, I've probably referenced this before. The last two Pokemon games, like mainline games, I felt like were really unfinished, and I didn't buy the DLC for either of them because I was like, just put in the full game. Like, I understand that Nintendo used to literally just bring out the same game with a couple of those DLCs 2 years later, and that's worse than what this is, but it's still the principle of the matter. I'm like, if your game's not even polished, I'm not going to come back for the DLC 3 months after I mainline the game. Like, I'm just not going to do that. So
I do think there's a difference between like selling an unfinished game and then trying to sell the finishing pieces later. Versus like, here's a fully complete game. Also, here's some optional stuff you can buy, but you don't have to.
Yes.
So
the games that have done DLC the best, personally, like in recent memory, would be like Spider-Man, Insomniac's Spider-Man games specifically. Like those are complete games at launch, but then they're like, hey, in a month or two from now, you want to get back in and like maybe complete your platinum trophy, and here's like 10 more hours of just extra stuff to do in this world. That's how you do DLC, not stuff that feels like it should have been in the original cut of the game. That's all I'm saying. And you can argue that Pokemon's DLC is like, it's post-game content, you know, they have to bring in new Pokemon somehow, and like that's fine, but make it free and sell me a $70 game that's finished. or bring the DLC out at a reasonable rate instead of drip feed every 3 months for the next year and a half with little updates and still into a broken game. Like I'm not re-downloading the last two Pokemon games on my Switch just to play this DLC. Anyway, it's a whole thing. Rant over.
I think we could have a whole podcast just about least favorite part of video games or something. I don't know.
And again, like I don't like to be negative. Like I understand you like.
But it's fun to complain, isn't it?
Some people think so. DLC and microtransactions, like they are what they are.
Yeah.
And some of them are good, some of them are bad. Just, vote with your wallet. I understand. Like, nothing is going to change, though, because EA's microtransactions are what did it. It's like the guys who will spend $5,000 into FIFA every month. And, like, good for FIFA. That's fine. It did ruin the rest of the gaming industry. Ruin in quotes. But, like, it's fine. Just do your research. Spend your money the way you want to. There are literally so many good video games out here. If a AAA one doesn't catch your eye, you don't have to buy it. And you don't have to get on Twitter and shame everyone else who did buy it for buying it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Also, I think if you really love a game, there's nothing wrong with spending a little bit more money on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I've definitely, like, some free-to-play games, sometimes I will buy some cosmetic stuff, not even because I, like, obviously I want the cosmetics. Like, there was, that, like, Battle Royale, like, Spellcaster Mage game back in the day. I don't remember if you...
I love
we
that
played
game.
That together.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it even, but it was really good.
Like Spellbreak or something.
Yeah, that one was really fun. And like it was free to play, but I decided to put some money into it just because I was like, I like this. I want to, throw them a bone,
Yeah. Usually with free to play games that feel like AAA games, like if I really like them, like Pokemon Unite, I'm buying the Battle Pass every, 2 months when a new one comes out. If I'm playing it regularly, I'll buy a holo every now and then. I think I've probably put $70 into Pokemon Unite over the last 3 years. So I basically bought a game, Yeah. But I've played it for 3 years and hours and hours and hours. Like it's all relative. Yeah.
So anyways,
now let's talk about cardboard gaming.
Yeah, let's think about another way to waste our money.
Yeah. Speaking of, I forgot to bring it out here.
We were just talking about that in the Discord.
Yeah, we were. Divorced Dads TCG is being launched. I'm super curious about that. It's really fun.
Might actually pick up a starter deck.
Yeah,
honestly.
I would too, man. That'd be so fun. Like you, me, Jonathan, and whoever else. Like we just get a couple brewskis and a couple starter packs of Divorced Dads. That sounds like a fucking awesome time.
Yeah. Oh yes, sealed Divorced Dads.
Sealed Divorced Dads. So yeah, shout out to Type for
sound effect you just gave us as well.
Oh yeah, I did, dude. I didn't even know I burped until you said something.
Everyone else did.
Yeah, they fall out of me. You guys have no idea. It just happens. Oh boy.
But yeah, recently we did cast that tournament that you were talking about earlier. The Battle Spirits Tensei Community Discord Battle of the Best Round 2.
Yes.
There are 2 VODs up on our channel if you want to go watch them. Should have only been one, but the stream just died at the end for some reason, so we had to restart and do a separate stream. The good news about that is if you only want to watch the finals, just go watch the second video.
Yeah,
so
it did work out that
happy
way.
Accident.
I had a lot of fun casting. I've been really enjoying the opportunities that we've gotten here recently to just experience this game in a different way. Like it's really fun to play and to deck build and to do the podcast, right? It's a whole new experience to be watching play and discussing the through lines and like weird tech cards that show up, especially in the best of one format that was that tournament, which is going to lead into May. The online Summoners Duels tournaments are also best of one. So there are going to be some weird decks coming out of that kind of format. And then the meta is different in the best of 3 formats that we're seeing pop up too. So Texas this weekend, Sydney like last weekend, set 4 is in full swing, and there's some really exciting decks out there.
Full Hydra swing.
Full Hydra swing, man. And Ira.
And Ira, yeah.
Ira's still good.
I'm going to say, the more we've cast these events, like we did the Indianapolis event, and we did this recent community event. I love playing Battle Spirits, but I think more and more, I feel like we're definitely doing the right thing with this YouTube channel, our podcast, our show, whatever you want to call it. Just because I'm realizing, like, I think I enjoy doing that stuff even more than I enjoy playing the game. Like, I just love, talking about the plays and watching people play and cracking jokes with the chat and like
Yeah.
just having a fun, goofy time. So
Especially
maybe
better
it's just
players than me, right? Because I learned.
yeah,
Like, it's just,
yeah.
yeah, it's very cool.
When people do stuff that I never in a million years would have thought of, and I'm just like, that's genius.
Yeah.
I love that moment.
It's
So
inspiring, I think is a good word
yeah,
for it.
yeah, it's fun. So if anyone out there is hosting a community event and you would like for us to cast it, just shoot us an email, absolutebsspod@gmail.com, or, you know,
Reach out
reach
on
out to us
Discord.
anyway. Yeah, Discord, YouTube, leave a comment, whatever. I think Isel said that, yeah, shout out to Isel for running the event
Yes.
and the Battle Spirits Tensei community Discord, in general for just being awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Isel said that he's going to do that for each new set. I might be
Yeah.
misquoting him here, so I'm sorry if that's not right, but
That
I saw
is
him say,
how I took that as well.
yeah. I think, yeah, we're probably going to get some more of these events, and hopefully he'll ask us to cast some more. I think
Yeah.
we'll probably do it if he wants us to.
If not, I'll definitely be playing in them. It was run really
Yeah,
well. It was super tight, 5 rounds. We got in and out
yeah.
relatively quickly. Still had the rest of the day to do tax stuff, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I asked you if you wanted to play some Battle Spirits afterwards, and you were like, "No, I gotta do my taxes." And I was like, "That sounds like a lot less fun than what I just offered you,"
yeah,
but I get it.
it was a lot less fun. So we've been preparing for that. But we're not here to talk about taxes. I can't write off this cardboard on my taxes yet. So um,
The more events we cast, the closer we get to being able to do that.
that's
So,
right. You never know. You never know. But yeah, I'd really like to ask you, Eric, especially, what kind of stood out to you in that tournament last weekend, and like what your some of your favorite moves were, some of your favorite matchups and decks.
you know what my favorite move was.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
So I need to clip this out. First of all, I think it was really cool to see purple.
Yeah,
And not only that, but purple, like set one purple is still so powerful, even
yeah,
though Netherworld Depths is banned. And I mean, we still saw like some purple from other sets, but it was mostly set one, and then we had like Rotting Swamp and Double Deadly pulled
yep,
in for like other sets. But it
yeah.
was like still saw Nemesis, we saw Core Theft, we saw Core Drain, we saw
Maduke.
Maduke.
Yeah,
Maduke is really getting into Hydra. So it's, I mean, you still have to mill 8 cards, which sucks, but if your opponent is already low on health, then you can, force them to die through Maduke. It can be pretty good.
yeah.
But yeah, purple was definitely my favorite thing to see. I think purple's really good. And the play of the game, the play of the tournament has to go to Stevie for core thefting a Kachi Kachi rabbit that had 13 cores on it. He played core theft and removed 13 cores from this rabbit by discarding 13 cards from his hand. Still had, I think, 4 cards left in
Yeah,
hand afterwards.
solid hand afterwards.
Which goes to show you that purple can still draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was just the craziest thing I've ever seen anyone do.
Yeah. It was a
Like if
very
that,
fun community moment when we all
yeah,
realized what was happening and all those cards
like
were being discarded.
yeah, like he played core theft, and then in my head I was like, no,
Yeah.
he's not doing that, right?
Yeah.
No way. Like if that had been the final play for like a world
Oh
championship
my
match,
gosh.
I think I would be like still
Rioting in the
recovering.
streets. Yeah.
I would have jumped out of my seat, and like if I was sitting there at the Battle Spirits Card Fest and somebody did that in like a world champs match or something, like
Yeah.
I would have jumped out of my seat screaming
Yeah.
because that was just insane.
I would have ripped my shirt off. My stomach would have been painted purple.
Yeah.
I would have been like just cheering, converted forever. And again,
Yeah.
like not only was it just a ridiculously just baller move to be able to be like, all right, I'll discard 13 cards from my hand to kill your catchy rabbit that's cored up. But it's also strategically the best move you can do in that situation because all of those cores go to the trash.
Yeah.
It's way different than just doing like a deadly balance and then, they have answers probably hidden in their hand. But it was awesome. It was just really cool. I can't get over it.
It was like I'm sorry, I can't remember the yellow player's name at the moment, but they had put all of those cores onto the rabbit. I think just thinking like, oh, this way I don't get core theft.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
That way core theft doesn't happen. And then here's core theft anyways for 13 cores.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was truly something to behold.
What about you? What did you enjoy seeing? And other than that, what was your favorite play?
I got a shout out to Big Dog playing a list very similar to something that I've been working on, and it's those fabled beasts, those hunduns, the dual eagles, just an incredible board.
Yeah, he still got his hair.
Give
him some credit.
Just and old Genbu, just being able to come down, wreak havoc, and rebuild so easily is really, really fun. And we'll talk about this a little later, but like yellow wasn't in the top at Sydney, but I think the Big Dog got like 3rd or 4th in that tournament this last weekend.
I'm not sure what place he got, but he did pretty well.
It seemed like he was doing really well. The matches that we got to see him play too, like just played Fabled Beasts really, really well. And I think they're in such an underrated spot again. And we talked a little bit about this before the podcast. You're saying we were seeing a lot of like vanilla spirits coming in to counter Genbu, but now all the heat and the hotness is over in red and blue, and now purple coming back in. And so there's just a lot of really good effects on spirits. So we're kind of opening ourselves up to being hit by unblockable blast damage from Fabled Beasts is what I'm saying. And it's just a damn good deck, and it's really, really fun to see yellow do so well.
Hundun is even better than I thought he was.
Hundun is wild, yeah. Like I remember when they were announced, I was like, all right, for playtesting, I'm going to run 2 Hunduns and 2 of the Neko Matador or whatever. And then after one game, I was like, oh no, it's 4 Hundun.
4 Hundun all the way.
It's 4 Hundun all the way.
Hundun is just as good as Dual Eagle.
Yeah. And man, Hundun would still be good at 5 Reduct too. But the fact that you can play Hundun with a full yellow board for only 2 cores is crazy. And much better to have a when destroyed effect than a when summoned to tutor for more Fabled Beast cards. And just unblockable when you've got Genbu, a Dual Eagle, and Hundun. There's just so much you can do against your opponent that they can't do against you. It's fun.
Or if you don't have Genbu or Dual Eagle, but you need one, swing in with Hundun. They either let it through or it dies, and then maybe you draw into it off the top.
Right.
So really nice.
Yeah, and just in time for these online games, I can't wait to get myself a set of 4 of the Phantasmal Paradise with the Pentan and the little hot springs. Yeah. And the Great Sapphire Labyrinth.
If those aren't too expensive, I'm definitely going to try and get a full play set.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what? We get 2 for just showing up? 2 of the Nexus packs?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but you don't get a lot for
right.
participating. I think you maybe get like 1 of the Nexus pack and 1 of the other pack, but I'm not sure.
Well, if you play high enough, maybe you'll get your play sets of those. But yeah, all the prizing for the online is like super nice. The Hydra mat is beautiful. The tournament pack, like with the chance to get a Hydra with a cool like wavy blue border and Detective Pentan with like the little yellow cards on it is just too much. I can't wait.
I am very excited to participate in that. If I have enough fun on Saturday, I might actually participate in the European one the next day on Sunday.
How does that time difference work out for us? When would we be playing?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe that doesn't even work.
Right. Like, I mean, if it was a case of like we play Saturday afternoon, right? And then Saturday overnight, the European ones going on, I might.
Yeah. They just said that if you participate from outside of Europe, you have to pay for shipping, which is probably going to be a little expensive, but I mean,
But the rewards are good.
Yeah, but you get good stuff.
Yeah, like I just got my prize stuff for the last webcam tournament last year. There was like a big delay, but like they sent us a lot and I didn't even do well. Andrew kicked my ass.
Andrew got lots of goodies.
Yeah.
He got like a metal soul core and
Yeah.
like a whole bunch of cool stuff.
I got a Judge Maduke. That was cool.
Why did they send you a judge pack?
I have no idea. Probably to like make up for the fact for how long it took.
Oh,
probably.
okay.
They probably like gave us some
so you
extra
just
goodies.
Was it in a pack or was it loose?
It was in a No, it was loose.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just straight up that's crazy.
I'm pretty sure. Or they gave me a little judge blister and it just had Maduke. I don't know. I forget now, but I was too excited.
Way, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like one of the best judge cards to get, I feel like.
I gotta say so. But yeah, I think before we get into the breakdown of Sydney, yeah, like our just really quick unofficial just remembering it was, yeah, a lot of good purple. And Star Dragons ended up taking it on the day.
Oh, on the Battle of the Best? Yeah.
Yes. So Ira out here cooking real good. I ended up buying a second copy of the Rage Star Dragon.
Because, yeah, we were playing it a little bit last night. And you're getting into the Star Dragon realm a little bit.
I'm having a lot of fun with it, man. It just feels like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Like it feels like I'm playing the main character. And I'm still like deciding which Star Dragons I want in that list too. So it's like I'm running 2 copies of like a bunch of different ones. So that was kind of cool. It's like here's Red Eyes Black Dragon, Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, Red Eyes Proto Dragon, Cyber Red Eyes Dragon. You know, like that's what it felt like. And it is fun, but also just red removal and red draw is good. I play in a certain way now that like I have to have a draw engine. So there are some colors I just don't touch anymore because they feel slow to me now. But red is in a good spot. Specifically, I played the Star Dragon build.
I played a bunch of green against you last night, and yeah, it hurts when you can't draw.
Yeah, like you just kind of bide your time till green is out of gas. You know, you ritual fire a couple of the Bark Maidens and stuff, and eventually there's a turning point. You might have taken a few hits, but you just play Big Bang, and you flood the board with red answers. Really big red answers.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'm struggling. I'm back and forth between red and yellow for the online tournament.
Never thought I'd see the day that Cam would turn into a red player.
Me neither.
I feel like I could find an audio recording of you somewhere where I have a memory of you saying like, I don't know, I never really play red, so I don't know about this or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I remember you like
I probably say that a lot.
We were talking about some red strategies, or maybe when we were looking at Ira, or maybe something earlier, and you were just like, I don't really know. I don't really play a lot of red, and now here you are.
Here I am.
Same thing happened to me with yellow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I've probably played yellow more than any other color at this point.
I still think yellow is the most fun consistently for me, but in set 4 testing, I have had a ton of fun with red and green.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to get into some purple. I think purple is the color that I thought I would get into at the beginning of the game, and then I just ended up kind of gravitating away. But
yeah.
Speaking of purple, though, so we do have results here from the Sydney Grand Open, or was it a pre-grand Open, whatever what are they calling this now? Grand Tour.
Yes, the Grand Tour.
Yeah. So we've got a few decks that we're going to look at today.
Yeah.
So
right now I have the top 8 pulled up.
Sweet. So I think we're going to stick to top 4 because we do just kind of have some repeats towards the bottom. We do have 7 and 8 are distinct, but I think we'll have the link to all of this in the description. So if you want to go check it out, shout out to Eggman Events for keeping us posted on the top lists here. fifth and sixth are Hydra lists, which are similar to the other Hydra list that we were going to look at. But they have a little bit of, one of them is a little more of a blurple deck.
Yes, which is cool.
So,
I've been shouting from the rooftops that someone needs to make a blurple deck because I'm not smart enough to do it, but I know it exists. Yeah, the top
blurple
8
is. I was gonna say blurple is blue purple for anyone who doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. So the top 8 archetype for this Grand Tour in Sydney, 3 Hydra, to be expected. 1 Ira, 1 White Agro, 1 Smag Ramp, 1 Serpents, and 1 Machine Beast Control. So 8 slots, right? 6 different decks. That's great.
Yeah. The and like I was saying, one of the Hydra decks is different enough from the other Hydra deck that I think it's worth looking at on its own.
Yeah. But it's a nice little pie chart. It's very encouraging. And Sydney was best of 3 format, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. So yeah, we'll be looking at side decks for this tournament. You wanna get into that top 4 list from Floyd Long?
Yeah, let's look at this is gonna be Floyd's Purple Serpents deck. This one is really cool. If you want to see the full deck list, like I said, go to the description. We'll have the links there. Or head over to the video version of the podcast on YouTube if you're listening audio. But I'm going to go over the deck, but not like every single individual card.
Right.
So Serpents. So we see Shaznake. We see Dragonaga Assassin. I'm really interested in Hakuja, the wizard.
Yes.
Because I was not really expecting him to be very good. So I'm really interested in how that worked out.
Again, because I don't play purple, I was also completely not expecting Mirrorcaster or Abortia to do so much. Serpents are eating.
Yeah, Abortia is really good.
Yeah.
Because it has that, like, you can destroy a curse spirit to do the deadly balance effect, which I guess maybe is why Hakuja is in there, because it has curse, and then when destroyed, place 1 core from one of your opponent's spirits into the reserve. If you destroy a spirit with this effect, draw a card. So you could potentially do like a chain of events here, bounce one of those things that you kill back to your hand with Lamorak. So something really interesting about this deck, I think, are the numbers.
Yes.
Do you notice anything particularly odd about this deck?
I mean, yeah, the distribution in the spirits is different than what I normally do and what I normally see.
There's only 2 absolute ice shields.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah.
And there's the other 2 are not in the side.
They are not.
So we're just going full on, like, all gas, no brakes, like, or all gas, like a couple of brakes, but mostly gas.
But a lot of the outs here are in purple.
Yeah, we've got Core Theft, Double Deadly, and Deadly Balance. A lot of Double Deadly, Deadly Balance. 3 of Double Deadly, 4 of Deadly Balance. That was kind of hard to say. Only 1 of the Big Serpent X-Ray and only 1 of Nemesis. And then it looks like we've got 2 Nemesis on the side that maybe we pull in. What's the deal with Counter Sword? I feel like a lot of people have been talking about it again recently.
I'm hearing this a lot, which I'm great with Counter Sword being a thing because I play Reunite in my Fabled Beast deck right now. And so that takes away the main ability a little bit. But yeah, 5 cost, 3 reduction, burst. When they resolve a 1 summon, select one of your opponent's spirits, return it to the top of their deck. That's pretty good. You may then pay this card's cost to activate its main effect. Place a core from the void into your life.
Is this just bounce Ira, or
it's probably in Hydra, or the Ira, right? They play Ira, they wipe everything, they use all their cores, they draw, but then you bounce it and then maybe get a life back. Yeah. I don't know. 2 copies of it, though.
Yeah, over Ice Shield.
Yeah, as many copies as Ice Shield in the deck.
Yeah, which is interesting. I'm just curious, maybe if anybody knows the secret tech here, leave it in the comments down below. Like, why are we playing Counter Sword? Like, what's the purpose of this? Maybe I'm a little out of the loop because I haven't played in a competitive event in a minute. But I just feel like if you're just using it for the main effect, there's that new card that is probably better for that. What is it called? Life saving?
Yeah, the one with like the orca whale looking thing.
Yeah, 3 cost 1 reduction, and it has the same main effect.
I'm looking at like all of the double symbol spirits though, and they all have when summoned effects.
Oh, do they?
All of them have when summoned effects. Yes, every single one.
Even
Because of
Hydra?
their ascend abilities. Oh, not Hydra. Wow. That's weird. That just even makes Hydra even better. You can't Star Blast off Hydra. You can't Counter Sword off Hydra. Oh my gosh. So 5 out of the
Yeah.
6 have when summoned effects. I mean, yeah, it's a good card. I just, out of white, it feels expensive. But I mean, but it is a burst card. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird that that's in the main deck and not the side deck.
Yeah.
But obviously it
And
worked.
also, yeah, I mean, we ended up in 4th place with this, so it must be pretty good. Um, see anything else interesting? We got the 4-star blessed, which I guess maybe similarly for triggering off of those one summons. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe the counter sword is in there for Squallow.
perhaps.
Not sure,
Does
but
Squallow
Starblast isn't.
have?
Yeah,
Yeah, he does.
his ability is when summoned. He's either like exhausted, or if you control a Nexus, then he has a when summoned ability of like coming in refreshed. So
So if he comes in, oh yeah, I guess that is how that works, right? You could just counter sword Squallow
yeah,
no matter what.
yeah. Well, I think the ruling is if he comes in exhausted, then his when summoned did not fire. So it's sort of like Mushrantula with the Soul Core, where like if you don't spend the Soul Core, then technically there wasn't a when summoned.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Strange.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Amethyst Sanctuary ship making an appearance. I was playing around with this card last night.
Yeah, I'm again, 2 ice shields is wild when there's 4 copies of Amethyst Sanctuary and 4 copies of Lucerium. I get Lucerium can bring in a card when it's killed. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that ramp is solid. That ramp is solid.
I mean, the only target for Lucerium is either another Lucerium or this Amethyst Sanctuary, though.
Right. But I feel like it's enough, oddly enough. Cuz you can deadly
Well,
balance your Lucerium, kill something and then bring something else in its place. That's pretty good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not destroyed by opponent; it's just when destroyed.
Man, Lucerium
Um,
showing up in everything yet.
Shaznak is the same, and it also has Curse.
Yes, it is.
So, like, best friends with Ouroboros.
Yeah. Man. I'm thinking with Lucerium on the rise, I would like to, especially red players, I would really like to direct y'all's attention back to King Vulture in red. Let me bring that up real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking that up. What is that?
King Vulture is an Emperor Beast, 4 cost 1 reduction. When summoned, your opponent selects one of their nexuses that costs 3 or 6 and destroys it.
Ah,
So
I remember this guy was tech back in the day to get rid of depths.
yes, but now it's targeting all, well, not all of them, but a lot of those nexuses that Lucerium is ramping on. Seabed Lighthouse is also a very big card right now, and King Vulture is just a very quick way to get rid of that. It's still not the best card in the list by any means, but you can also give a confront. I don't know. It's worth slotting in the sideboard if you're going best of 3. If people are building their ramp engine based on Lucerium, is all I'm saying. It wouldn't work against this matchup because Amethyst is 2, but
Lucerium is weird. Like, I think that Lucerium is really, really good, but I also just having played with it quite a bit, it feels like everybody's excited about it because it's kind of like a new thing, but like I almost feel like Worker Ant-Man is sometimes better.
Yeah, and
I mean,
the
I
Ostuara in green is also a pretty solid like soul core ramp. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. I I think that unless you're really capitalizing on the when destroyed effect, uh, there are some better ways to ramp.
Yep.
I feel like maybe people are. I think in this deck it makes sense because like you can
Yes.
destroy it in a lot of ways and then get a lot of value
Yep.
off of that second effect. But I think actually in some green decks maybe it's not the best choice unless you're already going all in on like Leaf Kindreds and low
Yeah.
cost Nexus and
Yeah. Like if you're
that kind of
doing
thing.
the Emerald Sanctuary, or even those totem poles, you're probably
Yeah,
running Lucerium and Allron together. So Lucerium has a few
yeah,
more targets. But yeah, I agree. In the green purple matchup, it works really well. But Worker Ant Man is kind of I is going to get an uptick, I think, in getting back into decks for that ramp.
yeah. I guess what I'm saying is like sometimes Lucerium feels like Worker Ant-Man with extra steps.
Yeah, yeah. I like that there are options though. That's really good
Yeah,
design.
yeah.
It's cool. And yeah, at first I wasn't sold on it in this deck, but the more I'm looking at the list, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
makes
you
a lot of
could
sense.
double deadly off of it, kill two things, pull in a Hakuja,
Yeah.
swing with Hakuja. They don't block because they don't want to get cursed, but then you just kill it with your Ouroboros anyways, and then
Yep.
remove a core, and then deadly balance something. Like it's just, or you bring in a Shaznake, because why not?
Yep.
Or you get super aggressive, and then when the Lucerium dies, you bring in another like spirit to just do
Yeah.
some cause some chaos.
And if Lamorak's there, you're seeing your sacks go right back into your hand and getting so
Yeah.
much. Purple is man, purple feels like a Rune Terra build, especially Serpents. Like
Yeah.
the sequencing
Well,
in purple is so fun and cool, and I want to get into it.
well, if you have your Nexuses down, you double deadly the Luceria, you get to pull something in. Then if you have Amethyst down, you get to look at what the top card is. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you like it, you keep it on top and you draw it with Rotting Swamp. So it's like
Yep.
it's just yeah,
It's a
really
lot of control. It's like looking into
yeah.
your purple crystal ball and being like, all right, I'm going to get rewarded in a few different ways for taking out my opponent's targets, and I can kind of curate exactly what that reward's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I like it. Um anything else about this deck that you want to talk about?
Um, no. I
Okay.
really like it, though. Congrats to Floyd
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, I'm gonna try this one out.
yeah, I would love to play test this deck. This looks very fun.
Do you want
So,
to cover the next one?
yeah, let's move on over here. This is the natural evolution of the Smag deck, right? So we've pulled this up. This is from
Yeah.
James Haw in yeah. So this Smag pile, just like what we were talking about, Ostuera and Matt and Goal are in here. You got the 4 copies of Smag. You've got 4 copies of Alron, 4 copies of Andromeda, 4 copies of the Elephant, and you have a Nova top end. But the new stuff from set 4, right? We've got the Drought Dragon. Dustworm Drought Dragon, I think, is just like one of the coolest new cards. I've been playtesting this one a lot. And Eric, you mentioned you're like, I got to remember that this thing is a card. Like, it can
Yeah.
come out of
Yeah.
nowhere. 1 core for 5K is crazy. Like,
It's a volcanic canyon with a, I mean, sorry, it's a volcanic break with a body, is
yeah,
basically what it is.
yeah. And
And can be played out of any color.
honestly, yeah. Um, yeah, he's a 3 cost at like pretty early on in the game. And when summoned effect is devastating early on, it's pretty good mid range. It takes out a lot of like really high value targets right now, like Alron, Lucerium, um, and even some higher cost yellow stuff are going to be sitting around 5K. So I love that card. And again, the SPR art for that is just incredible. And then this deck has 2 copies of Rage Dragon Ira. And as long as, you ascend it off of something that costs 6 or more, which would be your Nebula Dragon, Drought Dragon, Elephant if you really needed to. But really, you just want that Elephant there. Never mind, it doesn't do the when destroyed by opponent. But yeah, it's a solid list. Your Magic's there. I like the Forest of Steel Leaves. I think that's an underrated card to protect your red stuff. Actually, hold on.
So there's no other Nexuses, so I think the purpose of this
is actually for that level 2.
Yeah, it's to I think bounce Nexuses. When Hydra swings, it kills something, and then the level 2 triggers, and you can bounce their Nexus so they can't raid.
Yeah, that's
which is
nice.
Really smart.
Yep, and as long as you have that burst card set, they can't do anything about your Forest of Steel Leaves. So it is a one-of, but I like that.
I think maybe its other purpose is also to have white on board, so that way if they have Seabed Lighthouse down, you can play Avalanche or Dream Bomb.
Yep. And again, we see 2 copies of Counter Sword in this deck.
Yeah. I wish I understood why. Someone will tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
There's probably there must be some kind of like community movement, like people have been chatting and this is like the best defense against something. My guess is Ira, like maybe to put Ira back on top so they clear the board but then they don't get to capitalize on it. But
yeah, and then you can answer with your own Ira or something.
Yeah.
Elephant is really good right now against Ira.
Yeah.
And
Elephant is also maybe good against Hydra.
I mean, I think,
You mill 8, but
mill 8, but well, technically 11 because you're drawing 3 also.
Yeah,
it's
you're
tough.
milling a fifth of your deck.
Yeah, that's tough, but it can also definitely help you out. Yeah, Counter Sword makes more sense in this deck than the last one, just from me observing on the outside, not having played either of these.
Yeah.
But I like this. I like the green ramp engine in Ostruara. I like the disruption or not the disruption. I was thinking of a different one. Matingale is also good. And Alron. It's weird to not see Thorn Prison with all those green spirits.
Yeah.
Not even
that's
in the
definitely
side
missing.
deck.
Yeah. We've got Deadly Balance in the side deck.
We do have Deadly Balance in the side deck.
We've also got Ancient Draw, which, I don't know, maybe in a certain matchup you want to draw into your Ascend stuff faster than your opponent, so you put those in. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's got 3 targets there, right? The Siege Worm Nova and the 2 Siege Worm Iras.
Yeah. Potentially a third Ira if you want to put that in from the side.
Correct. Yeah.
Something that's interesting is Matingale and Ostrara are in here. And, Caleb Albert, he was the guy.
Heard of him.
May have heard of him. The guy who won Worlds with Smag. He was talking about possibly replacing Matingale with Ostrara. So I find it interesting that James here has decided to include both.
Yeah. If you get both of them, relatively close to each other, that is some solid ramping in the beginning.
You can play Matingale and then like sack him just to then have enough cores to then play Ostrara and
And that's probably how that play line goes. And then you're just immediately separating yourself from your opponent's ramp, or you're trying to anyway, depending on what they're playing. And it all looks very feasible to get these answers up. Nebula Dragon Andromeda just continues to blow my mind. I love that card.
Yeah, it's a really solid card.
It's really solid. That is a starter deck box art card that is still putting work in the set 4 meta. We love to see it.
I dig it. I like that card too because it's so versatile. It does so much, but it never feels broken whenever it comes out. Like whenever it's played against me, it still feels fair.
Yeah,
which is something I appreciate about the design of that card. Is like it's really really good, but it doesn't feel like insane.
I gotta agree. Yeah, this is a fun looking list. Like if I was gonna dabble in rainbow, I feel like mine would look pretty similar to this. I don't play white, but like these are some of the best white cards, you know, like I love elephant. I think it's so cool to have the elephant on your side of the table, and it's so frustrating to see elephant on your opponent's side of the table. And Dream Bomb, I think, is just such a staple in the current meta to just deal with these double cost spirits, especially stuff like Hydra and Ira.
Yeah. I think that's what the two inescapable avalanche are in the side as well, is like Dream Bomb number 5 and 6.
Yep. Yeah, like if you really need to do some balancing, inescapable avalanche is a very good card.
Yeah. Super good.
Yeah. What do you think? Any other thoughts on this?
So, no, I think that's it. We got 4 ice shields in this one, so.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, are you ready for a deck that doesn't have any ice shields? Because we're going to talk about that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's... Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And we're even playing white.
You know what? Honestly, I think it makes sense.
It does.
You don't need the ice shield if there are no creatures attacking you. Anyway.
This is Ryan Mister's white aggro build.
Oh.
And I played green aggro for a bit, and I actually also came to the conclusion that ice shield did not belong in that deck. And I ended up moving mine. I put 2 in the side when I played green aggro, so that way I could pull them in just in case. Ryan here has decided, nope, we're not doing that. We're just going all in.
Yep.
So we've got, all the classic, 1 cost, 1 reduction white spirits. And one of my old favorites here, Bullet Ray, 2 cost, 1 reduction.
Yeah, great card.
A lot of these are vanillas. We've got, the Mecha Wing Duck, who can feasibly ramp if you bounce some stuff, which might happen with the Valkyrie here. We have Valkyrie Mist.
Yeah.
But I think the key to a lot of these cards really is low cost, high reduction. So that's what we care about. We've got Karibara, 2 cost, 2 reduction. We've got the Snow Librarian. We've got the Satellite Falcon. And then we're just going in with Regain, Dream Bomb, Thorn Prison. And we've got more Thorn Prison in the side. And if all else fails, we do have Dual Gun Mech Lord Durm Dyna, just ready to make a bunch of your dudes unblockable.
Yeah.
So.
Man, yeah, I feel like this is either hit or miss, right? But it looks like it's hitting more often than miss, because this plays second. This just like boggles my mind. I'm like looking at this, I'm like, well, how are you going to draw? But then it's like, well, you don't need to draw if you win, by turn 4.
Yeah, this is definitely a deck where if you don't win in the first few turns, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
But, or at the very least, struggle. But I think maybe that's also why Durm Dyna's in here. So that you can, like, maybe make a comeback.
I love Durm Dyna. I'm just not smart enough to play white.
Pegasione can also potentially keep you alive for a bit if you need to.
Yeah, I was thinking about Sheriff Eagle, which isn't in this list, but yeah, maybe you don't even need it. I would like to play around with this list. If I'm ever going to play white, it's going to be either just a really shitty pet deck that I like playing, or it's going to be white aggro. Because I just don't have the patience to not be drawing cards the whole time. And I never have fun when I play white.
Yeah. White is a lot of fun. White is a lot of fun as long as you don't play certain cards that will not be named. Because last time I named specific cards, we actually got our first ever dislikes on a video. So.
It's true. It's true.
But there are certain cards, and if you know me, I don't like them. And I think white is more fun without those cards. But
I think my favorite card in this deck is Heavy Tank Curiosity.
Yeah, you discovered how good that card was in Atlanta when we were playing the side events. You got really into that card.
It's super fun. Yeah, that's a really cool card. It's just like your removal does not remove. And so I'll just stand up all day. The mechas here are the Gunner, the Durm Dyna, and the Satellite Falcon.
Okay.
And itself.
Very cool.
But yeah, they're just free chump blockers. They're like, Or no, not jump blockers, but yeah, like they can't be fully wiped by destruction effects. I like it, especially with how prominent red and purple is. I think like this makes so much sense in the current meta that we're gonna keep seeing some white aggro decks pop up, especially probably in the best of one online formats. Something to think about.
We did see the purple Serpents deck packing 2 Raging Tide in the sideboard, specifically to deal with this deck. So
yeah,
I think that's your biggest worry. Here's the thing, though, is like it was kind of the same thing about like tokens and Floodstream. Is like, oh, Floodstream kills the tokens. Tokens aren't viable anymore. But it's like your opponent has to have Floodstream. Your opponent has to have Raging Tide, and not even just in their deck, but they have to have it in their hand.
Yeah.
So like,
make them have it.
Like, yeah, Raging Tide is a card, and it could give you a really bad day if you're playing white aggro.
Yeah.
But what if your opponent is like on? You can metagame the metagamer.
Right. Right.
Because your opponent might be thinking like, oh, Raging Tide exists, so nobody's gonna play white aggro, so I'm just gonna not even include Raging Tide because I don't even need it. And then you're just like, you're metagaming the metagamer, or you're just like, maybe you're just like, white cards go fast, turn sideways, let's go.
Burr.
Burr. White cards go burr.
Yeah.
And you just don't even care. And
you never know.
Maybe they have Raging Tide, but in their deck, but they just don't draw it.
Right, because again, it's white aggro, right? Like you're banking on a lot there. It's like they have to have it in their deck. They have to see it within the first 10 cards, or they lose.
Yeah.
Not always. It's not always that simple.
Roulette in the casino, I have a deck for you.
Yeah. If you're like really into JRPG, like those mini games where they're card games built into the main game, and it's like, I'm just putting cards down and they're doing stuff. Yeah. That's white aggro. This is Queen's Blood.
If you are going to a large event, but you have IBS and need to use the bathroom frequently, this is the best deck to bring, because you will have lots of bathroom breaks.
Yeah. Like if you're going to a 9-round Swiss best of one tournament, you're bringing white aggro.
Dude, that's what I love so much about the green aggro deck is like, and we even talked about this on that episode of the podcast where we recapped Tulsa, but I would be done with my round like in like 20 minutes, and then I'd look over and Angel's still playing. He'd play all the way up to time. They'd put the new pairings up and he's running to the bathroom trying to pee. Yeah. Like
yeah, man.
I'm like, I was in the lunch line. He met me in the lunch line, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is my second time going through." And he was like, "You asshole!" Like,
yeah, you're like, "Oh, I'm stuffed. I couldn't possibly have any more food."
Yeah,
that's so
He's
funny.
just like starving, hasn't had a chance to pee. You know.
Yeah,
but
I like seeing it. It keeps the meta honest. It's frustrating. But I like playing against white aggro because again, it's not white control. So that's good for me.
Well, all right. Should we move on to our champion here?
The champion, the big bad wolf, Hydra, baby. This is pretty standard, mono turbo Hydra. Like, it looks fun as hell.
This is Adam Du Bois's deck?
I believe so. So congrats. Super fun list. We've been talking about this one variations on this for weeks now. Hydra just goes. You got the 4 Great Sapphire Labyrinths, 4 Seabed Lighthouses, 2 Erupting Submarine Volcanoes. I don't even think you need the Lucerium in here. You've got 4 copies of Pollen just to find, the Sapphire Labyrinth that you want the most. 4 Deepwalkers, 4 Millfrogs. Allegro is such a good right-hand man to the Hydra as far as the just standing and just putting damage into the face. And, yeah, it's... I don't know what else to say about this. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of, I think, pretty much what most people would consider like standard Hydra build, I would say, at this point. Pollen, I still think Pollen maybe is a flex spot that people should think about. I'm not I don't know. I've seen Pollen do so many bad things to the Hydra player.
Yeah,
So
I go back and forth on this all the time. Definitely, I would never play 4 of Pollen because
yeah,
my luck is not good.
yeah. We also didn't make first place at Sydney though, so
That's true.
take
Exactly.
it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean it's Andrew Evans' favorite card for a reason. But what I
love
do
how
know,
you've decided that it's his favorite card, and you
oh
just
yeah,
keep saying
I'll
it.
never let that bit die. He probably hates me for that, but no, man, the Mill Frog, you gotta have it. It just adds insult to injury. It's the cherry on top for this deck. But if we're talking about, budget decks, right? Like if you're coming into this game and you keep seeing Hydra and you want to play it, I think you can build it without Pollen and Sithagua. You're still going to drop some decent money on Hydra if you want the full 4. But the deck just works so consistently, so often, with so many different routes to it. So really, I want to focus on this sideboard.
Okay.
2 Smags is very cool. And I'm assuming that's for facing down against the Seabed Lighthouse also.
That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe to reduce these out of house magics. Cthulhu Shark is cool here as a 1 of. Like if you are dealing with, aggro, right? Like boards that are going a little wider than you are able to ramp Hydra with. You drop the Cthulhu Shark and you have a little bit of a catch your breath moment. 2 Dustworm Drought Dragons also very good for just picking off some of that aggression in the mid-range game. But yeah, a 4th Dream Bomb in the sideboard because there's 3 in the main deck. I think that makes a lot of sense and looks like it performed really, really well. I like the 1 Ancient draw with 4 Star Blessed and 4 Strong draw also. I just noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just a little bit of extra draw power, and hopefully you'll draw into the Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the sideboard here, I think a lot of it is actually just tech for the mirror match. Like I think you probably side in Smag, you side in Deadly Balance, you side in Feral Slash, you side in Dream Bomb.
Yep. And
like
that's smart because the main deck just handles so many different archetypes really, really well just because of how fast you're able to get Hydra out. So the sideboard being there for the mirror is just smart. Like overall, this composition of 60 cards is just really, really good, and it's proven itself a front runner even with all eyes on Hydra. That Hydra can perform really, really well. We saw it in Indiana, and we're seeing it again here in Sydney, and I definitely believe we'll see it in Texas this weekend.
Oh yeah, there's going to be plenty of Hydra in Texas, I would imagine. Probably a lot of people might even just run this exact list with like a couple changes.
Yeah, just personal preference at this point, right? Like I don't have Sithagua, and I don't like Pollen, so I would probably just mix those with a couple of those vanilla aberrations that still ramp on the Sapphire Labyrinth.
Maybe even go all in on trying to draw Hydra and just bump up the ancient draws. Like put in Volcanic Canyon.
I would put in Volcanic Canyon. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm just talking about I think this is still probably the ideal build.
Yes, this is ideal. Like this is a few $100 deck though.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're just just getting into the game, or like you just cannot get your hands on any of the Mill Frog, like
me.
There's some fun stuff you can do. Yeah, I kind of refuse to pay that much for that card. So
yeah, I don't want to reward bad behavior. And again, like I love blue. I've been singing its praises, and obviously it's performing. I don't think you really I don't think you honestly need Sithagua to make this list work. But obviously it just ups the consistency of how powerful it is.
makes your mill strat much more likely to succeed.
Yeah. But
But I
again, what
think
we
if you
see
go
with
more,
Hydra is when you're milling them out, you're also just hitting the last life anyway.
yeah,
In my experience.
you're killing them at the same time.
Yeah.
So
It's just an ultimate flex.
yeah, I think it's good to be advancing both of your win cons at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's only
Like it's
good.
definitely it's a really good card, but it's also yeah, if you're going to a tournament and you don't want to drop a bunch of money on it, like I totally get not playing it
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But which is honestly that card is not even that I think it's sitting somewhere around like 40, 30 or $40 right now.
Yeah. I think you can get them as low as 30 a piece right now.
Which
But for
is
the
much better
average
than
gamer, oof.
yeah, I mean if you come from other card games that sounds pretty normal for a rare.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
really meta. Like for a rare card that's very meta relevant and really good, that's probably like
Yeah.
you know that sounds like a normal price. But for Battle Spirits players, it sounds like crazy,
Yeah.
crazy high.
And you never know what's
But
going to get banned or limited in the future. So that's another thing. Like, I never bought my axe spiders, and I'm really glad. One, because I don't play white, but two, because, I mean, now you can't even play them.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
don't know. We might see that happen to the frog at some point.
we might. Um, it's a cool list. It's a very cool list. So congrats to Hydra for winning. I'm so excited to see more of these tournament lists come out. We've been really excited about the set 4 meta, and just it's just all over the place, and it's awesome. I think this is the healthiest. I know it's really really early to say this, but it looks like the healthiest tournament meta we've seen in a minute.
Yeah, I mean we'll see what things happen in Texas.
Yeah, I could be
But
completely wrong. It could be 16 Hydras in top 16, but I don't believe that that'll happen. I really really don't.
yeah. I don't honestly. I think a lot of people are not even going to play Hydra. I mean, I think there's going to be a ton of Hydra, but I think that some of the names and faces that you recognize from these tournaments over and over again, I think have probably worked more on like finding the deck that beats Hydra
Yeah.
than they have on perfecting the Hydra deck. I think it's going to go
Yep.
one in two ways. Is like either those players have found the deck that beats Hydra and they're going to play that, or they have not found it and they're all just going to play Hydra.
Yep.
But I mean, look at what True Duelist did at the past events last year. Is it was like whatever everyone expected to be like the big bad deck of the format, they would bring the counter.
Yep.
And so
And
I just
love
think if
that.
yeah, it's really smart. It makes a lot of sense. So I would not be surprised at all if we see. And maybe I'm just optimistic because this is what I would like to see. I want to see somebody bring something that I was not expecting, and then it just goes off.
Yeah.
And it's just, the perfect meta call. Somebody does something crazy that I never would have thought of. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. I love it. Yeah, I have a thought about tech here. And I
okay.
might just be really overthinking Seabed Lighthouse, but I just want to drop this and get your thoughts on it, and then we can segue out of here and throw it over to you all listeners. I think Rocket City has a place in almost every deck right now.
So 3 cost 1 reduction, White Nexus. Level 1 and level 2 during opponent's attack step, one of your spirits blocks, it gains 1000 BP. Level 2 during opponent's turn, when your opponent draws outside of their draw step, they must discard a card. What's your thought process on that?
So I guess I also thought maybe I thought Rocket City was passive, not just during their attack step, so to help with like removal and stuff like that. But Rocket City, at like a 1 or a 2, it helps you play your Dream Bombs even against Seabed Lighthouse. It helps that Absolute Ice Shield get that 1 reduction that might be the turning point that you need. It does buff up your guys a little bit, so those like mirrors, those bumping into each other and like either forcing a trade, that is no longer happening. And just there's so much emphasis on the draw engine that I think, depending on your build, especially if you're like, trying to hit the mid-range or later games, you're going to throw 2 cores on the Rocket City and just kind of limit their options if they are also trying to build 2. I think it's a cool white reduction symbol to have on your side of the field outside of mono white. I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, Lucerium can ramp onto it too.
Lucerium can ramp onto it too. And that's what really brought that around for me, right? I was like, I want to reduce these white Magic cards that feel like staples in the current meta, like Dream Bomb. Obviously, Absolute Ice Shield's been here forever. But yeah, like if your ramp is Lucerium and it's looking for 3 cost, throw Rocket City down.
The Diamond Sanctuary is also not a bad option.
That is not bad. That is true.
Yeah.
Because that just stays there if you core it up.
Yeah. Doesn't really do anything crazy, but
no. But Lucerium can ramp onto that for free too.
Yeah, and then it stays for you to Dream Bomb or Ice Shield from hand to your heart's content, even if they have a seabed.
Yeah, like I'm thinking about putting Rocket City in my Fabled Beast build for Hundun, right? Because when he blocks, he can bump up 1,000 and say an opponent can't attack with something.
Yeah. I think also if we see purple become more prevalent, then Rocket City definitely makes a lot of sense.
Rocket City definitely punishes those draws, yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of Purple's whole game plan is to just draw a ton of cards outside of their draw step.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, Ancient Draw is searching for all those Ascend Spirits. Starblast Draw, obviously still a thing. Strong Draw. Like, most of these decks that we've seen in the top, just the 4 that we just looked at, they all have a draw engine in either Starblast, Strong Draw, Ancient Draw, or some combination of those 3 cards.
Man, that makes Strong Draw so bad.
Yeah, it makes Strong Draw obsolete. You draw 3 cards, and you have to discard 3 cards.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. Rocket City is cool, man.
Unless you have at least 1 or 2 more cards in your hand, you're just drawing 3 and discarding them.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. I like it. That's where I'm at with it.
Make it happen.
I'm gonna try.
Make it real. Yeah, I think that's gonna about do it for us. I don't really have anything else to talk about here as far as these go.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for us to stop. I'm just really excited about organized play season again. Like it's just such an exciting time to see. We've gotten to open the cards and really enjoy just discovering all the new stuff in set 4 in a vacuum. But now we're actually getting to see them applied to past strategies and new strategies, and just again, very diverse meta. The game's looking really, really fun.
Yeah, and I think next week we can talk about Texas, which I'm definitely not that results from Sydney aren't interesting, but I know a lot of people who are going to Texas, so I'm kind of hoping to see like some names I recognize.
Yeah,
up at the top,
But also keep your eye out for all of these Sydney players at the next Worlds. They're making a name for themselves in their region, and are putting together some cool decks that are definitely going to influence future tournaments.
I've definitely seen these names a couple times, like a couple of them, pop up in different places. So, Battle Spirits is it's a great game because it really does reward the most skilled players.
Yeah, it's very skill testy.
I consistently see the same names show up at the top, and if somebody's new and they show up at the top, they tend to start showing up at the top more often. Because they, maybe they came over from a different game or they just got really good.
Yep.
So it's really fun to watch that happen as well. See who the new stars are.
Yeah. And there's room. There's room.
So for those of you watching and listening right now, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think when we looked at our analytics, only like 69% of you, nice,
are
not subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe and stay tuned. We're going to be streaming quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've been streaming a bit more. And of course, next week's podcast episode. But yeah, if you want to get notified every time we go live, that could be really fun for you. Also, I'm going to be helping Angel set up his stream. So
yeah. I'm so excited for Angel to start streaming.
Could be seeing some Angel streams coming along here pretty soon. And we know that, everybody loves Angel. He's probably got the most fans out of the three of us, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
So so stay tuned for that. And subscribe, send us an email, absolutebsspod@gmail.com. Leave a comment down below. Let us know about the countersword thing. I think that's the thing I want to know about the most.
Yeah. And, I want to hear about Countersword, Rocket City, and King Vulture. How viable are each of those three cards right now?
Yeah. Countersword seems to be at the top of those three, but I'm interested to understand a bit more about why.
For sure.
Anything else?
No, I'm just going to keep deck building and get ready for the online Summoners Duels in May. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's been consistently hanging out with us over the last year and a few months. This has been such a blast. I always feel very very honored to be a part of this community as deep as we've been able to. So thank you for allowing us into this shared space with this game that we all enjoy, and continue. I encourage you to continue to be a positive space for this game and anything else that you enjoy. Because that's the best way to get other people to like the same thing as you, is talk positively about it and be a positive person to bring them in.
I thought I was supposed to go on Twitter and yell at people. I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah, that is an approach that we definitely see. But you know what? Yeah, at the end of your day, you're gonna do you anyway. But that's just my little 2 cents.
What if instead of being positive, I went onto Facebook and argued with your mom?
That'd be good.
Okay.
Do that. Definitely always bring my mom into it. Oh boy, I love it.
On that note, yeah.
Join the Discord, like the video, subscribe to us. It's all free, but it's fun.
Give Cam a little kiss.
Give me a little kiss. If it helps the game, I'll kiss anybody, with consent, of course. Oh, and come over. We're gonna see y'all soon here on Absolute BSS. Hope you all have a great weekend. Can't wait to see what comes out of Texas. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. We'll check you next time. I'm doing the Midwest goodbye. Bye.
Bye.